what's the correct terminology? What do you call it?
We call it microdrama.
You call it
microdrama, yeah.
Why that, not vertical video? Maybe they're not all vertical.
Because it comes in bite size, right? When you use the word vertical, it simply means like it's just shooting in the portrait mode.
Yeah.
But micro means it is really tiny. It's digestible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we've considered the proper term. Of course, it's still very mixed right now and kind of interchangeably. But vertical, of course, you could have a little longer length for each episode, and that kind of loses a little bit of microdrama's nature. And of course, micro doesn't describe that vertical as well.
Nature,
so you're gonna miss anyway. But I feel like microdrama probably captures the essence a little better.
So help me unlock the essence. This is a very beginner's question. What are the essentials of microdrama content? Is it about the director? Is it about the stars? Is it about the length of the film? The fact that most of it is vertical? Is it the fact that we have lots of short things running to 60 or 90 episodes? What are the essentials in your point of view?
I think the essential is really the fast-paced, bite-sized format of narrative or storytelling, right? So essentially, it's still a drama, so it's telling a story, but because of its format, basically requires a lot more dramatic, so you can engage your audience right away, and you kind of need to speed up your narrative and see how we can highlight all the actions and dialogue and so on.
And it's digital native content. It's mobile native content.
That's correct.
Mobile first.
Yeah.
Mobile first.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that kind of prompt, I mean, that basically is the outcome. This is why it's vertical, right? Because it's mobile first, and kind of like it's most suitable for mobile users.
And is any genre working? Or, I mean, I think romance and action are two of the staples, but is it suitable for everything?
You want to take this one?
Yeah, I think it's the tried and tested models like you mentioned, romance, actions, revenge, popular models, because these are actually very relatable themes to the everyday people, where they see people actually being in a very I would say like difficult situation, and how they overcome it with luck and charm, meeting someone with lots of money and their life changed completely. So these themes are highly relatable to a lot of, like, I would say the core audience that we have, which is like largely females in the age of like 30s to 40s, and I think that's where the starting point is at. But we've seen a shift in the audience pool, because we did produce a male-driven content. So the male-driven stories are now picking up. And we had one called From Rags to Riches, which actually had like 1 billion views in a week. So that's a period drama set in China, and the theme it's more historical and slightly different from the rom-com kind of genre.
Yeah, so I think there's no limitation, right? Restrictions in terms of genres, but it's definitely because you need to engage your audience so fast in a short period of time. There are certain genres that might be easier to start with to achieve that, right? So romance, because it's full of emotional hooks, and also, as Tim said, the more relatable the content is, it's easier to engage your audience quickly, right? So usually, it's a family drama or romantic relationships, or someone that was used to be powerless and hopeless,
Revenge,
but now he's getting the revenge back or getting power and money. So it's more relatable to our everyday life. So that's probably why you start with a certain number of genres.
More accessible content.
Right.
Yeah.
The microdrama industry itself is evolving. Is that correct?
For sure. Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly. Yes.
Give me some idea of the numbers involved. I mean, we've heard in recent months that the gross revenue of the industry has already passed the Chinese box office. I mean, what are the numbers of views you can have on a single episode or across a series, that kind of scale?
So it's kind of hard to summarize, just because it's such a wide range. For a more popular, what call it, blockbuster or hit show, it's definitely, you can get millions of views, right? And then for the revenue, every day it's possible at 200,000 to almost 1 million and it's a huge profit or revenue generating machine in a sense. But you also have a large number of shows that probably don't work as well. So it's a huge range. Sometimes you just have 100 views for a certain show, but you have thousands or millions of views for another.
Yes, that sounds dramatic. Tell me about your company, COL Group, because it's been around for longer than microdramas.
Mm-hmm.
What was it in before? Is microdrama now the biggest thing?
Right. Yeah.
So maybe I give a broad overview as well. Like the company has been around for the last 25 years, is publicly listed in China. We started with digitizing novels and stories and putting them online. With the transition of online to mobile, where we started to work with telcos to actually distribute the content of these novels via chapters through SMS, MMS, and that's where the micro content came about, right? But then these are popular IPs that we own, and in time we use the IPs to do films, series, and subsequently even created applications where you could actually do character storylines, which leads to what we're doing right now, microdramas, and we were one of the pioneers in the space 5 years ago, which is why we are at this position where we have multiple platforms. Yeah. We have an inventory of 1,000 dramas, and I think it put us in a really good position to help the industry to navigate what's next, especially for emerging markets like Southeast Asia, which Enoch mentioned, that it's really growing, but it's not found its identity in the microdrama space, whereas in very mature markets like US and China, it's very distinct. You know what to expect, and there's a lot of innovation in the space. So it is going to be quite an exciting journey for us, being a innovator, to drive this change in the current landscape, I would say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You mentioned a moment ago the hit versus failure ratio. You didn't actually put a number on it, but I wonder if you could maybe elaborate on that, and secondly on the different business models available. I mean, I'm an economist by training. Mm-hmm. I love to know what the business model is.
For sure.
And there are many.
Right. I would say, in short, the primary business model is what we call IAP, in-app purchases. Yeah. So basically, the users, of course, once they get into the app, they will be able to watch a certain number of episodes, typically 10, for free. And then the goal is to get them hooked or addicted to basically leaving them wanting more, right? And then they will hit the paywall, and they can either choose to subscribe, or they can also have microtransactions to unlock more episodes by purchasing the digital coins. And then if they choose not to do either, they can also choose to watch ads. So the business model is mainly revenue from the subscription, from the microtransactions, and also from our ad revenue.
And your company is essentially a producer. Are you also a distributor, or do you have to work through the larger platforms? And what is their share? Were that the case?
So we're quite I would say, a complete ecosystem in that we own the IPs, we do the production of the series. We also own multiple platforms, Flaflow being one of them, and we have also teams that produces dramas that would basically sell to either our own platforms or external platforms. So they're quite on a neutral party because they own these IPs. And then we also recently announced the launch of our distribution arm, which now we actually have these dramas, and we're helping partners to launch their platforms and fill the inventory. We're going to see a lot of these newer platforms, newer apps, even like linear TV broadcasters, telcos coming to us to say, hey, we want to start our own vertical platform, and they need inventory, and we have dramas that we could produce, and we can provide, and it's something that we are continuously putting out there, and they don't have to risk it. In fact, we even are able to kind of license our scripts and IPs for them to produce something locally because it's tried and tested. Yeah.
And is this because you want to avoid giving up 70% of your revenue to a platform, to a rival platform?
No, I think it's a more of a diversification of our revenue per se, because the reality is that like what Enoch shared, right? Like out of 10 dramas, perhaps 2 or 3 would actually really become major hits, and the rest would actually just be library titles, right? So for us, our goal is to obviously monetize the dramas as much as possible, and that's why the distribution model comes into place. At the same time, some of these dramas are really well produced and they are really well done, and they have done a good amount of shelf life on our space itself, and it has actually performed in other platforms that we have sold to. So the way I think the industry works for microdrama, unlike the likes of Netflix and HBO, is that it's less exclusive in many sense. So a lot of them are using this to draw in the customer. So whenever they come to us, they go like, oh, so this drama actually works, versus like, oh, it's a big cast or it's a big director.
Right.
So it's using this as a tool to kind of draw in subscription versus trying to sell the platform from the get-go.
Again, that's speaking to the industry being at a young stage. You mentioned exclusive. I wanted to ask about exclusivity. Can one of your shows be on your platform but also on somebody else's platform simultaneously in the same language, in the same region?
I think, currently, of course, we have 2 sources of content production. One is from our domestic department, where basically our domestic department is like a content provider, and they provide to many different platforms. The major ones in China, but also they also sell the content, license the content to other platforms, including ours. So that in that sense, you're going to see similar content, right, or same content. But we also locally produce some original content, say in the US. That part, right now, I think there's still a possibility of licensing content, but usually we'll have some exclusive window period where we'll have the exclusive rights.
So to add to that is that when we produce a series, typically it really comes from where it's commissioned for. So if it's commissioned purely for distribution or is it for platform, and then then that would decide the window of exclusivity, and it would typically be a period of like 3 months. And then after the 3 months period, it's free to sell. Either that, or the platform may decide to keep it because it wants to retain its exclusivity. Yeah.
We tend to think, perhaps this is a gross generalization, that microdramas are a Chinese product, mainland Chinese product. It's certainly where the sector has had its greatest success so far. COL is a Chinese company, but you also have, for instance, a stake in Real Short. Everybody I talk to is talking about expanding internationally, producing overseas. Is there something specific about the way that China has evolved that makes this a successful industry? What are the lessons that the rest of the world can learn from mainland China?
I think it's the speed to market for the Chinese producers and directors. They're really quick. In fact, I think when I work with or rather speak with some of the directors and producers, right? Like when they share how many days they would actually complete a drama in the US, in China it would be like 3 to 5 days, and I'm like, wow, that's really insane. But because of the nature of the spirit of this the Chinese, right? They're willing to put in 16 hours because they're so passionate about it. Versus in the US perhaps, where there is a lot more working hours. Like for example in Singapore, right, after 7 p.m. we probably want to go back. But in China they are so committed to want to make this work. And I also think that because they found a lot of success in mainland, so basically being able to adapt that learning very quickly to the US markets or even any other markets is actually a skill set that the Chinese have. Yeah.
Is AI being used as much as people talk about? And I think people see AI as a big bogey, that they know that there's use of some AI. Can it write a script yet?
It can definitely facilitate in writing a script. And I don't think it can write the whole script and the whole script will work perfectly. That's not happening yet. So I think in our view, AI is definitely an enabler an assistant in a sense, but also throughout the whole process, you can incorporate AI. So kind of view it as a tool right now.
In things like shot selection, editing, marketing, those areas?
So in terms of developing a script, right, it's still, of course, human has to have the original idea, but AI can definitely help brainstorm, can help develop some like dialogue or fact check, and a lot of things that it can help with. And also in production, it can help with generating some costly scenes, right? Instead of trying to rent a helicopter, you can use AI to generate some certain images. And then suddenly with marketing, analyzing data, how to optimize your return, and then product experience, how to recommend the right content to the right user. So there are definitely a lot of areas where AI can come in.
If I may add, I think Microdrama World is a game of time. We produce so much. If you hear what we said earlier, people producing stuff in like 3 to 5 days a week, and people are spending 2 or 3 seconds on it, and if they're not interested, they swipe away. So the whole concept about microdrama is about time. It's about how quick are you able to first put up something very compelling. Secondly, how quick are you able to capture the audience? How quick you're able to put out a drama when you know it works. And the next one, and the next one. So what AI does is that it speeds things up for the team, which is why, like Enoch said, like it enables. But what it enables really, it's not in creativity, but it's in speeding up our efficiency.
Efficiency. I love that. How are you using data? What kind of data do you need?
So, of course, there's more on the surface level. You can have all the basically retention rate, right? Conversion rate, how many are paying versus not paying, how many are watching ads, how many seconds people are staying within one episode or one show. And that's on the surface area. Of course, when you dig deeper, you can actually find out at what point people drop off, and people's comments, all the textual data, and how many people are clicking something within the app, right, in the different buttons. So there are so many things we can analyze to understand the user's preference and the user's profile and so on. And that will help us deliver the better or more customized or suitable content to a certain user or user group.
So you see, it's so different from production, right? Because usually you write a script, you edit it, and then you put it on. But here you use the data to go, okay, so this is the point where you need to have the cliffhanger. So this is the point where you need to have a drama. This is where you need to have like something shocking, right? Yeah. So using that as a driving force for the creative versus the other way around, where like a slow burn, like a Severance, right, from Apple will not work. It takes 10 episodes of 30 minutes to get to the payoff. The payoffs are like this.
Yeah. Well, which brings me to a question I wanted to ask: is why haven't existing film directors who are brand names in themselves, who would get people's attention, why are they not working in this space, doing either original content or perhaps as a first step, chopping up their existing features? I mean, I can imagine someone like who's made films like Feng Shao Gang, commercial films with regular beats in the script. Why are they not able to repurpose and rethink and move into your space?
I think there's multiple reasons. One is people are trying to navigate how to monetize it. And the way that most people think of microdrama or vertical drama, how we started this, is that it's basically putting stuff in a portrait mode, filming something in portrait mode. But the game and the reality is we are trying to use these dramas to draw people to watch more. And the way the content is being consumed and delivered is you're not going to be able to get characterization. You're not going to be able to get emotional depth. So sometimes it loses that art that goes behind a film, which, a moment. You're not going to have a moment. You're going to have explosive moments, but then you're not going to have a moment to go, oof,
Right.
the actor's thinking, right?
Yeah.
So I think that integrity part of I would say in filmmaking and in television would be missing. So what you get, right, and more often than not is on TikTok, Instagram, where you get recaps of shows.
Yes.
Yeah. So these are more similar to microdramas because it's faster, right? And I think companies are adapting to, like, when they want to release a show, they will do like recap, they will do like here's what you missed and stuff, versus putting the entire format on it. So they ride on the concept of a vertical format, but they're not actually producing vertical dramas.
I think Stephen Chow has been working in the microdrama space in the last year. Are there other well-known film and TV names who have made the transition?
I think in the US, what I understand is that the guys at Cineverse, which are execs in television, are moving their space into that. I know Disney is as well. So I think we're going to expect a lot of these bigger collaborations. It is going to be an interesting play because if you think about it, a lot of the things that we do are very much very quick and not cost heavy. But with the shift to bigger players coming to place, it would potentially shift the cost to a higher level, because probably from the point of whereby unions are going to get more and more involved, production people are going to get more and more involved. You're going to start to see a shift. IPs are going to be involved. You're going to get bigger names involved as well. So I think the next 1 to 2 years is going to be an interesting shift in terms of like how microdrama, which is similarly something that is, I would say like, a pocket size show, into like a blockbuster theme kind of show in your pocket, which is going to be interesting to watch.
Very different, I think, yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean Jeffrey Katzenberg was right, but just years ahead of his time.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Okay. 3 quick-fire questions which have very little to do with what we've just been talking about, but I'm going to put you on the spot and you can give me 10-second answers. What is the best Asian content you might have watched in recent months that is not your own?
That is not our own. I'll probably say Squid Game.
I would say reality series, Drag Race Legion Royale. Yeah.
What problem in Asian entertainment would you most like to fix if you had a magic wand?
I want to say the homogeneity, or I should say the similarity, right, of content.
I would say integration of brands into content. I think a lot of Asian content tend to force a lot of these brands into their dramas or movies, which is quite jarring compared to the West. Because I think in Asia, we like it more in your face. So sometimes when I watch some Asian content, I'll be like, oh God, this is another brand placement. Yeah.
Okay. Last question. What do you wish you had known before you started in the industry?
I wish I've known that paid advertising is such a critical and challenging area to tackle. We
need more people with open-mindedness to look at the genre and not see it as another way of making money.
You've been fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.